to stage for T1, and he immediately sat down, and it looked like he was in practice tool. So what do you think he was practicing? Dodging.
Pressing flash before Valkyrie, I think, is what he was trying to go for. Already, we are here into the Champ Select powered by Omen and HyperX, and we have Raz's wish might be granted here because the Kalista already locked in. Taliyah going to be taken away. That's the adaptation. We'll see whether Senna is still going to be locked in here, and it should be.
I think it's a huge adaptation. The teams that have not had super high priority on Taliyah have all been punished. That you need to slam this champion, especially when the Ahri, Orianna, Azir are banned. So really good adaptation, I think, here already for T1. We'll see what Faker can do on the opposite side and what Knight's answer will be into it.
Yeah, we're going to get the Renata at least first anyway, but I'm curious because, I mean, you're already seeing Ori, Azir, Taliyah, Ahri taken away. You're kind of going down into the next tier of them. Maybe it'll be something like a Nico that he just decides to go back towards to make sure that he's going to be okay, but I think you do have to take mid lane here, otherwise you end up in a position where you just ban away even more of these picks. But LeBlanc has been a very strong pick for Knight for a very long time, and he may just bring this one out here.
Has certainly worked in the past into a Taliyah, but the pick away on the Cassante, Finn, he hasn't lost on this champion yet. Zeus was handed his first L on it in the last game. We'll see whether it's going to be a blessing or a curse here.
For T1 though, I feel like you could still take a counter pick here for your top lane. Kerry has shown he plays so many things with Senna.
Well, this is the thing, like, because you can't ban Maokai, Tahm Kench, and Ornn, which are all of his Senna champions.
Sejuani as well, just
that's true. Poppy would be fine, I'm sure. But instead, the Tahm Kench will be locked away, and we'll see whether Gumayusi Kerry are going to have a better time in exactly the same lane matchup in game number 2.
So probably going to get some jungle bans from T1 to target Shun here, and then BLG protection ban this Cassante. It sounds really weird to say that, protection for Cassante, but you know, are you worried about the range tops yourself? Are you worried about you know, the Camille or the likes of Poppy as well?
I mean, Twisted Fate, Vayne are probably the bans, right?
I'd imagine so. And then I imagine you're going to get the LeBlanc ban to round it out with the Nico. We already kind of highlighted, look, nice, going to struggle when it comes to champion pulls. He's a big, like, Silas player and a Kali player and that kind of stuff, so maybe we end up seeing him go back towards those assassins. But yeah, there's the TF ban. I've no doubt Vayne is going to shortly follow here for BLG.
And then what does it mean? Is it going to be the jungle pickup and then we have, you know, Zeus holding on to that final pick? Or, because the top lane has been exposed already, do we allow Ona to get a good matchup there in the jungle?
Yeah, I really like a Xin Zhao pick for BLG. I feel like would go pretty hard.
Would also go pretty hard for T1 as well, and Ona loves that champion at the moment. Certainly one of his favorites, as that is the Tristana taken away. Saw Caps have pretty good performance on that champion in the last series, and Knight, no stranger to it either. Does pair very well with the Kalista, especially if you're playing the more lethality version. Gives you a bunch more of that consistent damage later into the game. So an understandable ban. Will it be the Bane? Will it be something else? I think a Xin ban could also be a decent one here for BLG. Ball's in their court, though. We'll see what they decide to take away.
I mean, Aurelion Sol is up as well. It's not exactly a nice pick. We saw him have a pretty miserable time on it in the playoffs and kind of said, hey, I picked it because Chovy picked it. But maybe he's put in the errors. We'll have to see what exactly he wants to go for in that mid lane. But I imagine you're going to get your jungler here just to try and make sure you're okay. And you get that first pick here for Owner with the... Although, with the Cassante locked in, maybe you just go for the counter pick and hold jungle counter. Because maybe you want to go for something like a Jax if Xin Zhao is taken.
I kind of like the priority pick on the Xin. Like you were saying, Kobe, it's just something that has been really strong for both Ona and Shun, and trying to get that away from him could be a good idea. But there is that Wukong we've seen left up and available. Both Wukong and Jarvan just feel like LPL junglers. You know, I feel like that's the flavor. As Akshan, yeah, that was obviously the choice. Having a bit of a giggle there as well.
The only thing why I don't really like the Wukong is that Wukong doesn't do a lot before level 6. And we've seen so much early priority be successful. Is he going to pull a Canyon? The Kazakhs? Now, this in solo queue, it's amazing. The isolated matchup, Kazakhs versus Xin, is amazing. It's just that how you can integrate it into competitive and actually play it with your team, because Kazakhs absolutely demolishes the 1v1 versus Xin, and it makes it really hard for Xin, like mid-game, then walking into face check brush. Wukong is definitely more the scaling, more the team fight here. So BLG this time around are indexing This is a way slower comp for them. Obviously, they have the Corki and the Wukong, but they still started it off with bot lane prio. So they can still start the game by playing through bottom lane, through Elkin On again, just like they always classically do. Elkin On, so good at building for dives, so good at working on timings with Shen towards bottom side of the map. It's just that Wukong into Xin Zhao, it's a little bit more dicey.
That's what I was going to say. I think the fact that you don't really have a lot to bring to the table as the Wukong until post 6 means that Owner, if he does play around this bottom side and Keria continues to get these incredible abyssal dives, it is going to be tough for Elkin On to really push that advantage. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Owner starting on that top side of the map, trying to path down to help out Gumayushi and Keria in the early stages and try and beat this Wukong's punch.
I do feel like Elkin On really have switched on though for this series. I think that there were some gaps that we spotted in their matchup against PSG, but that is looking to have disappeared in this series.
It was funny because I feel like even the games that BLG lost, like they were so on that they were almost too good and too far ahead. They were crushing too hard, and then they threw some leads. Let's see.
It just wasn't the practice they were looking for.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you get your reps in before you go to the next matchup.